And if you get just a small fraction of the people listening and believing it, I guess you've accomplished what you set out to do.
Aren't there other numbers you can call for sleazy conversation? Why do you have to wait on the phone for these?
And they're a lot more fun.
Right. So curious, what about unlisted numbers?
Unlisted numbers? Well, the campaigns hire these services, and if you put in a random number, it could come up with your unlisted phone number. So even if your phone number is unlisted, even if you have a cell phone and no landline, so to speak, in your home, you could get a robocall.
All right, Carol Costello, I'll be calling you later.
I'll be looking forward to it.
You better pick up the phone. Well, the battle for votes in some areas is turning into the battle over who votes. Worries about potential voter fraud are a hot topic in the White House race. Our Chris Lawrence reports some examples of apparent fraud aren't always what they appear to be.
In 2006, this man helped register nearly 2,000 voters for Acorn, but you couldn't find a one of them who actually existed.
And I regret it. I paid the price for it.
Clifton Mitchell spent nearly 3 months in jail last year, one of the few people ever convicted of voter registration fraud.
I needed money. I needed to support my family. And I was new to the area. That's the only job I had.
Mitchell says Acorn threatened to close the office if his team didn't meet its quota. So behind the back of their supervisor,
we came up with the idea, let's make fraudulent cards.
They took addresses from homeless shelters, faked the birthdays, and used baby name books to create new voters.
We use newspaper every day. Every day I would go to the library and get a newspaper. I had one guy who would go to the phone book. Everyone had different methods.
Acorn was fined in order to improve its oversight. Senator John McCain's campaign has accused the group of trying to rig the election for Democrats.
Are we talking about these fake people actually showing up to vote?
You look at some of the names, Mickey Mouse, Dr. Seuss. Mickey Mouse only votes in Disneyland. He's not going to show up at a critical precinct in West Virginia or North Carolina.
Law professor Eric Schnapper says if anyone should be upset, it's Acorn.
The victims of this are the people who paid these workers $8 an hour to go out and find legitimate voters, and they didn't get their $8 worth. They put down phony names.
Schnapper says threats of criminal prosecution may scare some groups into closing voter registration drives and keep some voters away from the polls.
That really does affect the outcome of the election.
Do something.
Acorn has just released a new video to fight what it calls efforts to suppress voter turnout. And for his part, Mitchell says his team never intended to steal an election.
They're just trying to keep a job.
A nonpartisan group at NYU Law School reviewed voter fraud cases across the country. It found that most were caused by technical glitches and clerical errors, and a person was more likely to be struck by lightning than impersonate another voter at the polls. Chris Lawrence, CNN, Seattle.
Well, we want to hear from you. If you run into problems at the polls, call the CNN voter hotline. Help us track the problems, and we'll report the trouble in real time. Call this number, 1-877-462-6608. We're keeping them honest all the way through the election and beyond. The impact of the race on the race. That's a focus of our political coverage tomorrow. Be sure to stay with us as we get closer to Election Day. Oh, dear. Another lawsuit against Oprah. Who's going after Miss Winfrey's millions this time?
Accountability, AC 360. At 10 p.m., that's what we're all about. Anderson Cooper 360. CNN Tonight, 10 Eastern.
If you're This is the AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan card. You know what's great about this card? Wherever